So
Once it does this.
I said, I told him I would give you this phone number. And then you can reach
Yeah,
out
as
to
long
me.
as it stays up there, she said, you're good. We tested it. Good. That's what creates.
Oh, Stemmer.
Stemmer?
Stemmer.
There you go. You know what he needs?
He is just soliciting feedback on the Silverado project.
Julian?
Yes.
You know the password to log in?
801.
Councilman Ivy, welcome. What? We like it. You can address it? Yeah. Or you have to, you'll have to talk to code.
That is so small. Is that 801-698-8984?
Yes.
Got it. Okay,
This is.
calling.
Awesome.
So.
Needs with silver off.
Yeah, it was the strangest thing. Like, he actually showed me his
Good to see you guys. Thank you.
failed message delivery.
You'd have to come over
Like
here.
every single time he sent it to the.
That's what
I wonder if that's on all, not anybody trying to do it.
He got my reply.
That's the only.
He said he got Jared's reply. He got
It's
this.
only down here. No one else in the rooms.
But yours.
So you'll hear this.
You know, you have
Unless you want to put that.
So this is our, here,
I'm gonna move them to number 2.
Steve's.
I'm gonna go ahead and do the youth count.
This is what's
And then we'll
showing.
do them right after that.
But
That
as
work?
long as there's that word.
Steve is the chair. Keith is just.
Sweet.
Everybody's doing write-ins. Go ahead.
Yeah, right? Everybody. Yeah.
Just put a cow up. You're there.
Oh, got it.
Chris.
Perfect.
To the right of this.
Where you get the.
You've been on the run all day.
She was watching the city council.
Well, just sit nice and quiet and life will be fine.
Need to be logged in.
I'll just-
Oh, thanks. Oh, good. I need to be logged into this still.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh,
So.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready. Almost. This is, pretty good.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a hat of me. Okay, it's a few minutes past 5, so we'd like to go ahead and call this Santa Clara City Council work meeting to order. I'd like to welcome all our special guests that are here tonight. Appreciate you being here. The first item on the agenda, well, I'm Mayor Rick Rosenberg. We have tonight from the council, Councilman Jarrett Wade, Councilman Denny Drake, Councilwoman Lena Mathis, and Councilman Ben Shakespeare. We'll excuse Councilwoman Krista Hinton, who is ill tonight and won't be joining us. The first item on the agenda is general citizen public comment. Has anyone come to address the council tonight on something other than what's on the agenda? My kind of crowd. We'll go ahead and jump into the working agenda. Item 3, general business. We do have representatives from Washington County Youth Crisis Prevention Group, and we'll go ahead and turn the time over to you guys and your leadership, and please introduce the group and get everyone's names on the record for me. Is that,
You gotta talk right in it.
Okay,
get close to it.
okay, I'm so sorry. So we are the Washington Coalition. My name is Star. I'm the public representative. I'm to Snow Canyon High School and I am a senior.
My name is Andrea Soto. I go to Snow Canyon High School and I'm also a senior.
My name is Jasmine Breeze. I also go to Snow Canyon High School and I'm also a senior.
Welcome.
Our coalition is about drug prevention, and we just like to spread the word all over southern Utah and just teach kids at a young age, elementary schools, middle schools. We also teach the parents and the teachers. And just talk about drug prevention because we know how much it's affecting youth nowadays, and we just really want to put that on the song. But today, we have proclamation that we would like to read it to you, if you guys would like to hear it. Whereas the Washington Youth County Prevention Coalition and Washington Youth Coalition have designated the upcoming school year as an alcohol-free year for youth sponsored by Reach for Hope and Southwest Prevention. The school year sets clear rules and expectations about no underage drinking. Whereas alcohol use by those under the age of 21 negatively affects their health and safety, and thus the safety and well-being of those living and working in the communities of Washington County. And whereas teens who use alcohol often progress to addictive behaviors later in life, are at much higher risk for developing mental illnesses as adults. And whereas addictive behaviors and mental illnesses also greatly increase the risk of suicide. And
Whereas underage drinking is a major public health problem and that negatively impacts the brain development of our young people, causing a higher probability of early alcohol addiction, alcohol-related traffic accidents, and brain impairment. And whereas under the law, it is illegal for a minor to purchase, possess, or consume any alcoholic beverages, and it is illegal and punishable for anyone to sell, offer to sell, or furnish alcohol to a minor. And whereas the mayors of St. George City, Washington City, Franklin City, Hillsdale City, Ivan City, and St. Clair City, in addition to the commissioners of Washington County and state of Utah, are committed to the development of a major statewide public information campaign with the overall objectives of changing social norms regarding depression, suicide, ideation, underage drinking, and risky behaviors. And
Whereas we commend the overwhelming majority of our young people who are drug and alcohol free, and we desire all of our youth to be drug and alcohol free so as to develop in a healthy society. And now, therefore, we as mayors and commissioners hereby proclaim and support our support and offer an invitation to the entire community to help encourage family bonding and reduce underage drinking in order to improve the health and safety of all youth and adults in Washington County. We invite all members of our community, including individuals, families, governments, schools, religious and civic organizations, to participate in and sponsor activities that will heighten awareness regarding the dangers of underage drinking to young people's health and safety, and will strengthen their ability and desire to refuse to drink alcohol. And whereas we declare the 2023 through 2024 school year as an alcohol-free school year for youth, to bring awareness to risky behaviors and underage drinking and promote the bringing of families together. Proclaim this first day of September 2023.
Awesome. I'd be happy to sign that proclamation.
And Mayor, we will put this on next week's agenda to come back to officially adopt the proclamation as a city. So
Sounds great. Anything else?
Bring the original document next week.
If you can get it to Chris sometime, then we'll get it signed next Wednesday.
It'll just get approved next week. Okay. We just have one document that we're actually gonna have all in here. We'll send it next week. Okay.
I'm not going to be here next week, nor the week after.
your question is, I would say,
Can I sign it ahead of time? Without asking?
I think we could give you.
You're the
I'm
mayor.
pretty sure.
The proclamation says the mayor.
Says, just
It doesn't
says the
say
mayor,
anything about
doesn't
that.
mention you guys. But yeah, we'll take care of that.
Right now.
Sure.
Okay.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna throw me out? Win-win.
Put that on the minutes.
throw me
we also
out.
get pictures of the.
I want to read the next
The
one.
city council.
So they get throw me out.
Technically, you just sign it.
It's,
The council,
yeah,
you guys want to come on down and get a picture with?
Absolutely. Come on, council.
the
We'll let you
proclamation.
get in the picture.
So they can throw us out.
Better look in there.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, get all in.
Represent, okay, first represent.
You guys will make it up, so right here. All right, ready, 1, 2, 3. Great, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
We can blow us up. Wait.
Yeah, I'm reading it. It's like, doesn't say anything about the city council, it's the mayor.
Okay, Dustin, I'm gonna make you sit down for a minute. I'm gonna move item, council, with your permission, I'd like to move item number 6 up and address it next. Since we have honored guests in the chambers with us. Oh, they brought Toad too. Okay, item number 6 is a discussion on conservation easement. Elder Snow? Want to introduce your group? Get it on the record?
Thank you. So I have Kurt Ivy with us from the Washington City Council, also a member of our board. Colleen Granger, former superintendent here at Washington County School District. Chris Blake, former mayor of Ivans. I just can't see. So, Mary Jo Haven from, and you've been on the council 15 times. And then myself, Steve Snow, and of course, Jenny Gray, your council is also a member of our board. Actually going to participate a little bit in the presentation this evening. We're only going to take a few minutes, but thank you for giving us some time. And thank you for the work that you do. I know how demanding that can be at times, or at least it could be. We've been quietly a bit about doing our work for the past 30 years. The short name for us is kind of a land trust. If you have heard of some in one particular that's done a lot of good work up in Summit County around Park City. But our formal name is the Virgin River Land Preservation Association. So you can understand why we use land trust, Virgin Land Trust. Let's see. Our mission statement is to work with communities and landowners to preserve southwestern Utah's heritage of scenic beauty, open lands, and quality of life. And we are a 501c3, and also a nonprofit. And as I said, I've been doing this work for 3 decades now.
Not working?
There's the case. Our goals is to protect in perpetuity some of the real special and unique places in the county that are priceless to us here in southern Utah. Just one example was the Grafton Schoolhouse. We were, with many other partners, were instrumental in getting that set apart. There's a Grafton Heritage Partnership, and that protects Grafton, the older ones that are Grafton for the future. And there's a lot of special places to us that may be farmland, agricultural land, they may be wildlife habitat, watershed, or just scenic wonders and places of solitude that we would all like to see protected over the long term. So we work to find those places and to work with property owners to do just that. Question is, how do we do it? Well, we have no power to make. Can't go ahead and condemn anything. We work cooperatively with landowners. We either purchase their land We accept their donations, which have been many, and we also purchase conservation easements. Now, conservation easement is an easement that goes on the land, it stays with the land for perpetuity, and describes what the land can be used for. So this works really well with agricultural land. For example, a farmer, a family can still farm the ground, do exactly what they've always done with it, but we buy the development rights so that they can't. They accept the money from us, so it won't be developed in the future. It will just be used as it always has been. This has been very popular, as you can imagine, with a lot of our ranching families and farming families in southern Utah. So that's basically how we've done it. Some families, Denny will give us an example of some of the Gardner family in Pine Valley, what they've done, amongst others, to help protecting the Pine Valley area. Denny?
Well, and let me explain a little bit too, that the process is very simple. If there is someone who is seeking to protect and conserve and preserve their property, they can come to us and work with us in creating an easement. As we've talked on the city council about taking some of the properties in Santa Clara that we own and putting easements on those properties so they will be protected in perpetuity. For example, the Virgin River, the Santa Clara River, close to Virgin. And so those things are win-win situations. It's done with the property owner. We don't solicit the property. They come to us. We work arrangements to assess the property at a developed value, less an undeveloped value, and they get paid the difference. Now, as you look at this picture of Pine Valley, I think we have a drone. Did we start that right now?
If I do now, I will.
Well, that's the map. Okay. As you come into Pine Valley, towards the chapel right there, both sides of the roads are meadows and farmland. And the Gardner family, along with the Snow family, created an easement on all that property so that what you see there will be there 100 years from now. And in the process, they were also paid out some monies for the development rights. So they received monies. So it wasn't just a take situation. They got something for their easement. Pine Valley also has other lands that they're working on right now to further develop conservation easements, protecting the meadow areas all the way through Pine Valley, and in some of the areas outside of I guess you'd call it the metropolitan area, to make sure that what you're looking at is something that your grandkids and great-grandkids will be able to enjoy also. The reason for this is that we believe that we have a very unique environment in southern Utah. And we're hoping that a lot of the farmers and ranchers continue a desire to farm and ranch and protect their land, but to be able to receive some compensation for that. That's what the conservation easement is for. And to me, it's a win-win situation in which everyone comes out well. And I think in our city situation with Santa Clara, there are some potentials that we're working on, and hopefully we can come to some recognition and some overall easements that will protect that land forever.
We're working on some right now that along the Santa Clara River, of course, very desirable place to protect and take care of. And we're grateful for these families that come to us, and we're working with them now to try to consummate that. It does take time. We have to go through a state and federal grant proposal procedure, which is time consuming, but we're hopeful that in the not too distant future, some very nice pieces of ground on the Seven River that have conservation easement on them. So they'll just continue to farm as they have for generations. I'll turn to Mayor Chris Blake for some, just a review on some of the other projects we've done in the county.
Just when you're ready to go to the next one, just holler at me. I'll.
Okay.
Brock's.
Let's go to the next one and see what we got. I'm gonna talk a little bit about why I started doing this as the mayor. We had a son that spent quite a few days up in the primary children's hospital for the tests and stuff. And that's, as you know, kind of frazzles what's happening. And one of the people there taking care of our son suggested we should go down the hill to the nature park, like our sanity. So we did. When I was there, I told my wife, I said, I think as our community grows out, we need to do this. Well, we have places where people can retreat and recharge the battery. So when I was invited to join, I did. We'll show you some of the projects we've done. I know that Ivans has some pieces of property that they have got conservation easements or else title to it as a city. And I hope there will be more. Right up there is Confluence Park, which is a park off of the bench by the Burton down along the river. It's about 400 or 500 acres, and it's just one of those really primitive areas that we have a conservation people on. The title actually goes to Washington County because the grant we got required municipality or the county title, so we'll do. And then another one that we had was Middleton, Washington, actually a gift to us. And because we didn't want to own property, because you know how property is, we actually transferred this to the HCAC where we had the next. Then one of the biggest ones, one of the first ones that I was a participant in is Smith Mesa. How many know where Smith Mesa is? It's a big place, and there's 2,500 or something. Yeah, you're looking at some of the ones we have in conservation. And then this is one thing I learned about conservation. When we buy the development rights, they'll only get a significant portion value of the property. And this particular family, a lot of that went into savings account, with trust account or something. They use it to subsidize their farming. If you farm, it's not money. Subsidy like that, they can actually do well. And here's Babylon, it's a historic site. If you know where that is, at the end of the road over in the Leeds area. And that was given to us by an owner, and with the instructions to preserve it, because it was quite a unique site. We're currently in the process of turning the title of that over to the Washington County Habitat, because it's right in the middle of the desert. Habitat there. We shouldn't necessarily want to, we should let that. Next. This is East Zion. I believe Kevin McCloskey lived in Santa Clara 8 years ago. But he's the owner. This is above the ranch. Years ago, we put a conservation on that. It's still looking very sharp. I had to go through the evaluation a few months ago, and he's taking very good care of it. I hope that when it helps him do some of the things we're working on now. And this is a thing that we did over the last 18 months over by the city of Virgin, which you can see in the background, a place called Sheep Ridge, which is all along the river, and it's quite spectacular. And the residents of Virgin, some of the others in the county, wanted a conservation on that so that it wouldn't be turned into subdivisions, and help of several other conservation groups in the Utah area to acquire these titles. Reaction on it. Have to be a really nice place. There's some camping allowed, but there's lots of trails along it. Those are right above the diversion area. No, I believe this is the next person. Thanks. This is not new to you, but this, we we found a map of Santa Clara City, the year the trust was formed in 1993. And then now 30 years later, you can see the difference. And, you know, I'm getting old enough that 1993 doesn't seem that long ago. I wrote 1989 on a check a few months ago. So you have to, you just have to really appreciate how fast the area is growing, and whatever we can do to not necessarily set aside or stop development, but there are a few nice places that we should do our best to save. And so that's what we're about. And then the final slide is just sure that this is concluding. We'd be happy to take any questions or any comments from you, or give any help that we can. Be happy to work with the city if you have some light goals or some light parcels of property or that you would like protected. We'd be happy to work with you anyway. So, we really appreciate your time.
No problem. We appreciate the presentation. Question on the river parcels. The Washington County Flood Control Authority has funding available to purchase easements or property that's inside the floodplain on the Santa Clara. So as you're negotiating with those property owners, there is another source of revenue. The Flood Control Authority just wants the same goal. We don't want to see it get developed. And so but there is quite a bit of money via the Flood Control Authority. So I know you guys have been talking to the Hafen family, and as you're talking to some of those families along the river, there is another source of funds. Get with me and I can give you more details on that.
Thanks, Mayor, very much, because the state and federal grants do not cover, of course, all the costs. We have to raise private money usually to close the deals, so that's very helpful.
Mayor, that would fall in St. George along the St. George and
Virgin as
Washington
well.
along the
Yeah.
Virgin River as well.
All the communities that are inside the authority, Washington, St. George, Santa Clara, and Washington County, can below the diversion dam, and any properties along the floodplains in those rivers can
Well, that's good.
qualify. So
One of the things that we are going around with this presentation for is the fact that this does require money, and a lot of the money that we've been getting is from federal agencies, which take time and qualifications. And we would like to encourage donations to the 501c3 that would help us in the process. I know we've approached the county and various cities for support, but financially, we have probably 5 projects right now that we could do, but we have to wait for the money to be allocated from the federal agencies to be able to do it. And so the process takes 3 to 4 years, and a lot of people don't want to wait that long. And so if we can come up with a funding source earlier than that, then we accomplish a great deal. And it's a great deal in my mind for our grandkids and our great grandkids, because they're going to be able to see and enjoy some of the things that we enjoy now. Some of the things that Steve and I enjoyed when we were young men, you can't enjoy because it's gone. And hopefully that we can conserve and preserve some areas by choice of the people that own it. And yet they can still use it to run their cows, do their farming, whatever they would like to do on that land, and receive some compensation for the development rights. I think it's a win-win situation, and we're just hoping to continue to fund and come up with possibilities for that use.
Thanks, dude.
On things like the river, as far as public access, river trails, things like that, how would that work under something like
It's
this?
written into the easement, next provision for the trail and whatever else wants to be done. Some of the ag people we work with, they'll put an exception in the easement for a barn or outbuildings of some kind to help with their operations, but the majority of the land goes in just the way it's curved.
And in fact, with cities to protect utility easements and areas through those corridors, we can still designate a corridor for that within the conservation easement so that you're not eliminating, what you're really doing is eliminating development, but you're still allowed to use.
Some mountain properties, for example, the owners set aside 2 or 3 building lots under the conservation easement, so his grandkids can build a cabin. So that kind of thing. So
What determines the price? I mean, so as you go into
An
this.
appraisal,
an
we have an
appraisal.
appraisal done by a certified appraiser. He will do it based on as is agricultural versus the developed. Right.
Okay.
But again, it has to be agreed upon by the owner. If he doesn't like the pricing, he doesn't have to do anything. And so to me, it's probably the best win-win that I know of in preserving and protecting and helping to perpetuate our way of life.
any other questions or comments?
I was just,
Thank the council. and
Wait,
Mayor.
Jared had a question.
I was just curious, do we have any lava we can protect this way?
Absolutely.
Yeah, lava, hillsides, river bottoms, those critical things we don't want to see change.
Like, is the arboretum protected?
You can do. It isn't now.
Because I know a lot of people consider that pretty sacred, so.
I was taking it a step further and getting the federal government to reimburse us for it and then use it to pay down debt or build roads or buy a ladder truck or all sorts of things out there. We've got time to wait.
I'm not sure how public entity pays for public entity.
Hey, that gets mixed around a lot.
Thank you very
But
much.
thank you guys. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And Kurt, if you really want to get up there with the Glockenspiel dolls, the godmother has to give you permission.
That's true.
She's right there.
She's right there.
If you,
Nobody goes up there without her consent.
she could give the tour.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care, guys. Thank you. Item number 2, customer cellular web portal for water and power usage. Dustin?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have with us on Zoom a gentleman named Ed Howe with Accelerated Innovations. He's going to do a better description on the MyMeter portal. Ed, are you with us? You still on?
Yeah, he's there. He's muted right now.
You know, when you're sitting at a show and you hit the stop video, but you don't hit the unmute, you know, it's not a good start. I apologize, guys. So thanks for having me, Dustin.
Speak up, Ed.
Okay, I'll be trying to use this microphone efficiently here. Well, guys, it's a pleasure to join you this evening. I apologize where I am sitting at a booth in Denver, Colorado at the eSource Forum. And I'll be sharing a little bit of the MyMeter app and web portal and just giving you a little bit of an overview of what's to come. So let me check with you. Are you hearing me okay?
I don't think we can hear you very well.
We can't hear you very well.
Well, let's see.
But you look great.
Let's try this.
It's better.
That's better?
Yeah.
So if there's a little bit of background noise, the conference they're setting up for something at 6:30. So I've got some time to share this with you. I will turn off the camera so you don't have to stare at me. And what I'll do, guys, is share with you tonight a little bit of the MyMeter app and a little bit of the web, just to give you an overview of what's to come through Eaton, our partners, and what from the AMI side, being able to use that AMI data to do all kinds of different things. So with that, are you guys okay if I start projecting?
Yes.
All right. All right, you guys should be able to see a screen here in just a second. We're starting that broadcast. All right, I'll start that now with what you're going to see is a little bit of what we call the MyMeter app. And what you're seeing on top here, we'll show you a little bit of what the application looks like. You're going to have the option to use the general MyMeter app or have your own individually branded app for your use. And so what you're seeing here is some of the different municipals and IOUs that we work with today. Connexus Energy is a co-op here in Minnesota. Hartford, Wisconsin has an app, Sturgeon Bay, Snowpud, and they've decided they have found a lot of success moving forward with that application and allowing customers to have access to their data. And what we're going to do is go ahead and hit the MyMeter button, and we're going to support all those biometrics, whether it's fingerprint or facial recognition. And as you see, what's going to happen as we boot up, the very first thing you'll engage with is the Explore tab. And so customers logging in have the ability to see, depending on what we do with you, depending on the features we talk about, what you're seeing on the screen is being able to understand charges, understand, balance due, or have available widgets like this leaky toilet widget that allows a customer to, with a click, be able to link to any kind of video you might have to give customers a way to understand what they can do to check for leaks and do those types of things, or conservation tips. And it can link directly to your website. They can link out to whatever you're thinking. I'll hit that one. And this is one we just showed OPPD recently. But again, just being able to link to the things you have in place or get into actual analytics. And so whether it's, if we're an electric, looking at some of the electric ideas and being able to see usage since your last bill, usage last month, how am I trending, even the latest daily usage. And if I want to see that every time I log in, I can just hit the pin. And now you'll see that up top, and I can check that out when I come in. And maybe I want to check in that water usage as well. So I can see how many gallons I might have used over the last day, just how I've compared over the last week. So it really gives me some ability to just understand what I log into to see. And you'll notice here, you can see I'm up about 55% on water, down a little bit on electric charges, and similar usage to what I typically use for a kWh. And I should verify, you guys seeing the screen okay?
Yep.
Yes.
And so with that, guys, what I'm going to do then is, as I know you're an Express Bill Pay customer, and there's some things we can talk about from a single sign-on perspective. We've been working with Kaysville on how customers can engage, using the app, seeing their usage. But customers should be able to, whether it's pay their bill through Express Bill Pay, or we have other integrations that we could work with. But where I really want to show you is how customers can engage in notifications and that AMI data, that usage data that comes in handy. And so what we're seeing on the screen right now is, customers engaging and seeing in this information that's available to them. Right now, we're looking at electric usage on a weekly basis. And you can see every day, and I can give it a little touch and see that I spent $6 on Tuesday. I spent $4.18 on Monday. And you're noticing I can change that from dollars to consumption. It's really up to me what I see on that screen. I get to own that. And so whatever speaks to me really is the key. I can scroll back and see last week what that usage looks like. I can, again, that same kind of feeling that I can check and just see what that usage is like. I'm going to pop back over because I've always thought dollars are really what talk to customers. If I spent $3 in a day, I want to know what may have done that, or I want an alert that tells me that. So this is just a really nice way to break down that usage. Here, you can get it down to the hourly to see that information and what my usage patterns look like and what time that usage was used. And so you can see, I can, again, scroll back day by day, being able to see what I spent every day, what the trend looks like, up 73%. So it's, again, a really just nice way to glance and go if you want to check that usage. Now, what it comes down to is not everybody wants to see the usage. They just want to know when, or tell me why. So the alert system lets a customer come in, and so they can say, I want to add an alert. Maybe they want to understand if they have a leak. And so I can say, I want to set up a leak alert. And what we have today for leak alerts is that ability for the customer to see maybe it's continuous usage over 24 hours or a certain number of periods you decide that, customers should know about. And that gives that customer a chance to just get a push notification or a text or an email that, hey, we think you might have a continuous leak or intermittent, or if we see something just really crazy, that a burst alert can be sent based on the information we're getting from the head end. And now to that usage alert, a really easy way to understand, from an electric perspective, I can see, I want to know when my electric usage is above maybe a certain dollar amount in a day, or if I want to look at kWh, it looks like my average is about 59 kWh a day. I can say, well, I want to know when I go over 65. And that is in a day. So let's grab that. And then just next, who's going to get that? Who's going to get that alert? Who's going to get that push notification, that text, that email? And you can send this to anyone you'd like. They don't have to be a registered user, but if you want to send it to your spouse, you want to send it to the kids, you want to let them know, they can know that gaming, that device, that's going to cost you your allowance. And I'm kidding. We won't charge the kids for usage, but it's really a good way to just be able to get in there and understand what's happening from and send information to the people you want to know. And so we can go back to what that looks like. There's a weekly summary report that customers can engage in. It's a really nice touch point to see how they're doing from a week to week and month to month basis. And so what we want to do is let those customers who really don't want to engage in the data just be active in the sense that, hey, tell me when I go over a certain amount, so I can actually triage that and take a look at it. And so a lot of different things, we can, depending on how far we go down that road together, if you decide to add an OMS and be able to report outages, it's easy for us to link that to the app itself and be able to allow customers to see where outage information might be, report an outage. These are additional modules that maybe, as you see different phases or growing into it, we can definitely talk about what's possible when we talk about some of those phases. And what's nice about this, guys, and I don't know today, we haven't talked a lot about what your CIS is, but from a customer perspective, if I have multiple accounts and I want to see, information on each, I can actually maintain, maybe I have a rental, maybe I've got multiple accounts, maybe I work for the city, I manage a number of different accounts. It's nice to have access to each of those at your fingertips to be able to check usage or set alerts for each of those and just have some access to that. And not to mention those commercial accounts that might have some interest in finding out more about their usage. What's really nice is that not only can we do dollar and consumption, but we can do demand, we can do reactive, we can do power factor to help some of those commercial customers who might be looking for a little bit more information as well. So from a perspective of whether, that you're a person who really likes to get into the data or, as we like to deem it, a data geek, that information's at your fingertips. And in that same breath, maybe you just want to know when. You've got the ability to just set up alerts and then get that push notification to your phone or a text or an email to anyone you'd like to get and be able to see what that looks like. I'll stop and just see, are there any questions just about the app itself? We do support weather information, so you can check and see what is weather, how the weather looks on that, how precip is playing a part of it, humidity. You can actually plot any of that information on the graph to be able to see what that looks like and kind of understand what that does to your usage as well.
And the data is coming from the AMI meters, right?
Exactly. So we're going to get information working with the utility to get the customer data, and then also getting that AMI data from UConn, so that we'll get that on a daily basis. And we can even get it maybe a couple more times a day if you want to get a little bit more accurate and a little bit more data out to customers a little quicker. We can work with the Eaton team to set up the UConn extract to come in maybe every 6 hours or something like that.
Questions, council?
And Dustin,
I have one, but I'm not sure who to ask. The cost that's listed in the app, when you can go in and see your average day cost or your, whatever your time cost is, does it adjust for the PCA that we have, or is it just based on our fixed tiered rates?
I'm
That's a
sorry, I'm
great
not
question.
picking up what you're saying.
And that's a really good question.
I think the question wasn't like, right, but does it adjust for our tiered rate system to adjust with the?
And include the
And-
PCA.
And the PCA. It will account for both.
So I know the price cost adjustment, we can, what we'll do is and I'll show you on the back end what that looks like, setting up rates and being able to make adjustments to those rates. It's easily done on the back end on the admin side. So you can set up tiered rates, you can set up, you can do time of use rates. You'll have the ability to set up those rates within the system and actually show the customers what it looks like, what they were charged on each tier when we crossed over that tier. And applying that PCA, I'll have to just verify what's possible on that end. Was that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And I think what I'll do, just give you guys a quick glimpse of the web and see what the customer service rep would see. Dustin, if you want me to go down that path and just kind of share a little bit more of that. So to show how CSRs can answer questions and I'll go whichever direction you want to go. I don't want to take up too much time because I realize you guys have a large agenda tonight. So I want to make sure we honor that timing as well.
Thank you, Ed.
And Dustin, would you like me to pull up the CSR side as well?
Yes, please.
Okay. Bear with me just a second. I'll share the screen. All right. Let me go ahead and share that. And if you guys will just let me know if you're seeing that screen, that would be great.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Ed.
Perfect. What I'm going to show you is just a quick what it looks like to a customer logging in. So on login, typically just registering is very simple. We would expect an account number and a name as it appears on the bill. I'm going to log in like I've been there before, and you're going to get that same kind of look and feel, retrieving data. Here's that kind of a little different feel because you're going to get that look and feel of what it's like for a customer that, coming in and seeing this homepage. You think of those custom widgets you saw in the app, very much like this as well. So whether you've got a program you want them to see when they log in that they can actually, and if I give it a click, it jumps right to a page. So it's going to jump over to, we can help with aligning some of the programs you have, some of the things you're trying to get done. We can make sure that we can align to URLs that are already on your website or different things you want to embed. Customers who want to make a payment, if we do that single sign-on to Express Bill Pay, which is something we can talk about, customer care, whatever you want this to look and feel. HRSD is one of the customers we're going to be talking to next week. So you're seeing some branding, and we're going to follow your branding standards as well, because we want customers to feel comfortable in the sense that this is part of that they're feeling that it's part of the brand of the city and it looks good. So here's a customer engaging in some of that information, adding accounts, being able to look at electric and water. What's interesting when you see the water side, you can see this actually is one of those tier accounts from a water perspective that maybe they pay a certain amount on that 0 to 5,000 gallons and 5,000 to 15,000 gallons is that next level of rate that carries up. So it's a very easy way for customers to engage in data and be able to really just see what's possible. And then, like we said, you can come in here and set alerts, that same kind of thought process. So whether it's the web, whether it's the app, we want to make it easy on customers to be able just to set it and forget it if that's what they want to do. Leak detect, usage thresholds, that type of thing. I'm going to go ahead and log out quick because I do want you to see the one piece for the CSR that I find truly, has been, when I talk to customers, they say that is exactly why we want something, because it really, whether a customer registers or not, we're gathering all that data. So it's at the fingertips of the CSRs at all times to be able to see that. So now I'm logging in as a CSR. I get a little bit different dashboard, Jane Consumer, taking a look here. But let's say as a CSR, I get a phone call. Jane got her bill. She opened it and she's like, look, that bill doesn't look right. She's not registered for my meter today, but she's looking at that bill and maybe too much water, or it doesn't look like electric. How is this bill so high? And she instantly goes to the phone. She's got one in her pocket. She's going to call. So as CSR, I can actually go in and, thank Jane for calling and understand that, hey, I don't like a high bill either. I just don't. So let's see what we can look at. And so I can say, what's your customer number? What's your account number? What's your meter number? What, go by name if you want to. And there we go. I can look up, give me a second, Jane. So now I've got a chance. Oh, Jane, I see you've got your email addresses in there. That's great that you registered. Typically this person calling is not, right? Because they're calling in, they don't even know my meter sits out there just yet. And so as a CSR, I can take a look and say, well, let me take a look, Jane. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at your account. And quickly, as a CSR, I can see information. You see, just as we saw it earlier, as we left it earlier on water, I can jump to electric if there's a question, but I can hit the data tab. And what that's going to give me is usage patterns. So I can see, and I'm going to jump out to day by month, and I'm going to look at electric. And so if I call in, I can see actually higher than average usage. And what we're seeing is a heat map of usage. So as a CSR, I can see, yeah, that bill was probably high in July or even August, because all of these red, pink, salmon colored, they're telling me that was higher than average for Jane. And so I can start to look at things and say, okay, Jane, I'm seeing your usage. I'm actually looking at it. And hopefully, we tend to think nothing de-escalates a call than talking to a customer and saying, I'm looking right at it. And I see, yeah, your bill is higher than typical. What's going on? And so you're able to take a look and be able to talk through that. If you want to, you can get into let me look at the hour by day. And this is a really powerful way to see where that usage sits, or to be able to define and say, maybe, I don't understand. Maybe there's something stuck. Let's talk about what you can do to find out what may be causing this. Go, where's your AC set on? Or let's take a look at the temperature over those days and say, you might be looking at anything that could be causing this, and be able for helping that customer find that information. So it's a really nice way. You can see the temperature data there. You can ask about, was the AC pump in? Did you have people in? Oh, you know what? My kids were here for the week, or something along that lines, And then from that same breath, if we are looking at water and we take a look at that, one of the biggest things about water is getting to that hour by day, because at that point we're able to say there's got to be some zeros. And if I'm not seeing zeros, something's going on. And then I can say, Jane, it might be worth your time to go look. Let's talk about a checklist of some of the things you can do to find if there's a leak, if the toilet's leaking, if something is leaking outside, or anything you might find. But you shouldn't have constant usage unless you're telling me there is. And that's a really powerful way for a CSR to be able to provide that value. And that's what that AMI brings, is just a quick glimpse into this right away. And then for customers who want to download data, it's just simple. Commercial customers, they can come in and download electric, water usage to whatever hour they want. CSR can help set this up and be able to say, I set up an alert for you. I set up a report for you, and make it very simple for the user to have that data they're looking for. All right, I'm going to stop for a second. I know there's that background noise, and I apologize. Is there any other questions around what we're seeing on the screen? What else, if there's something else you'd like to know?
So it's
Is there
you might want to mute him, just so it's not going through his computer. Yeah, it's a free download it's just an app for the users. Free to them, and then the city pays a fee on it. I mean, we pay is that a annual fee, a one-time fee?
The 28,000, part of that is for the setup and the software, and it's ongoing annually of I believe it's 13.5. It's on.
Yeah, 14.5 every year.
So, I think most we can drive per year.
I like that.
Second year, I think that we can promote it. Newsletters. We also have this Shopify app, Washington County Service District, on. It's a great way to reach out to customers, text messaging, have it, we love it. Not that they had anticipated sign up for it.
Has anybody asked the Water District if they would consider help funding the app?
I don't think they would since they got that grant for the Optify.
But it's gonna help. I think I think you could sell it to them on a water conservation
It is,
platform.
I know I haven't reached out to the service to see if they would try.
I'll put a bug in Zach's ear too.
I do know, one of the guys from the Water Department of Washington, when I had got on his phone because they purchased the program, and he received an alert about a week later about a water leak that he found, or that the app alerted him about. He searched and searched and searched his homeless property. They had a little drop outside for some of his livestock. It's nothing more than a drip. And alerted him of the leak. There's some great benefits of it. Get our customers to use it.
When you say they don't have a lot in Santa Clara and Washington, do you know a percentage? How long have they had the app?
Just, it's,
Oh,
I think, 3 months.
so it'd be hard to kind of judge just, I mean, you could promote and now you can pay, obviously you can still pay your bills and stuff through. You can do it through this, it looks like you can,
Yeah, right now we have express bill.
yeah, so it's pretty easy.
Would that change if we were to go to this? We would still have both features available.
Is that a question for me, guys?
This is really fancy.